anyways. So he gives you just a few of the perfect middle passive indicative forms here. Just a few verbs. And they're all translated as a passive, although they could also be translated as middles in a certain context. So you got beblimai. Beblimai is I have been thrown. Bebaptismai. Bebaptismai, there it is. I have been baptized. Egnosmai. I have been known. Gegramai. There it is. Gegramai. I have been written. Luamai, as I have been loosed. Sesosmai. I have been saved. You know, we had that whole talk of they didn't like sibilant sounds, and here we got sesosmai. I'm like, seriously, guys? You had to do that? I just think I like looking at these forms though. I'm like, that is one word. It takes us 4 words in English to translate that one word. So sesosmai is I have been saved. I think that's fascinating. Adverbs. So these, I don't think we've had many of these yet, but these are good to have because without them, you're really not going to get very far in your New Testament. So, akri is until or up to. Eti, maybe, still or yet. Heos has got a rough breathing mark. That also means until or up to. Kathos means just as or as. Kalos means rightly or well. Look at it says in parentheses. It's got kalos. Do you remember what kalos is? It's an adjective. Do you remember what that means? No. It means good.
Oh, okay.
It means good. So here's what they did. Can you see how that omicron was lengthened to an omega and it turned it into an adverb? So rightly.
Sure.
We wouldn't say goodly, but it's kind of the idea there. So you'll see that often.
Okay.
That the omega sigma ending there is usually some sort of, they maybe took an adjective or something like that and they turned it into an adverb.
Okay.
That's kind of it's almost like the English ly.
Okay.
Sort of, so to speak. Noon is now. Hapu. Hapu is where. Not as a question though. Hate, when. Uketi is no longer. Uki, that's a fun one to say. Uki. Yeah, so Adam's Family theme song there. Not. Seimeron. Seimeron. Man, I'm having issues today. Because it means today. That's why. Today. Tate. Then. And a few additional conjunctions. Gar, which is all over the New Testament, is for, and it's post-positive. What does post-positive mean?
No idea.
Post-positive is like, remember the conjunction de?
Yeah.
Means now or but. De is also post-positive. Post-positive means that it cannot, for whatever reason, cannot start a sentence or a clause.
Cannot start a sentence.
Cannot do it. And there are a few other ones, and we'll get to it in just a second. I'll explain it. Let's move on for right now.
Okay.
Dia is therefore.
Right.
Okay. Hey, or actually that's not hey. I apologize. It's a. Means or. There are about 15 Greek words that's just an eta, and it's however the accent and breathing mark works is a different word. Man, it's maddening. And then you got these min-de constructions. Min-de constructions. So. If you want to be as, I guess, literal as you possibly can, men you could translate as on the one hand, and then de as on the other hand. Or you could just leave the men completely untranslated and just let de mean but.
But.
Yeah, so you could basically, and you'll see in the vocabulary guide that I gave you, in my min-de construction that I gave you at the very end of the thing, it says silent ... but. Gotcha. So I gave you the other way you could translate it, other than what the book says.
Okay.
Ude is and not, nor, or not even. Ude means neither nor. And then un at the very end is therefore or then. It is also post-positive. So a lot of times translators will like to actually keep that post-positive position for un in its position. So you'll see a lot of translations that will say, for example, I urge you, therefore, brothers.
Okay.
And so you can see that therefore is not in the front.
Right.
But sometimes they'll say, therefore, I urge you, blah, blah, blah. They'll put it right back up front.
Right.
Because with certain ones like gar, there's really no better way to translate that other than sticking the for up front and then saying the rest of the clause. But in the Greek, it can't start first. So you just see the gar just in your translation, you just stick it first.
Is there some intentional meaning for that?
I don't know if there's an intentional meaning other than that's just the way the rules of their grammar
Just the rules
worked.
of grammar, okay. Right.
I don't know too much about that. I just know that it is.
Okay.
But when you got something like un, people are like, well, yeah, we can stick therefore almost anywhere in the sentence and it'd be fine. So a lot of translators will like to keep that structure intact. I urge you, therefore, brothers.
Yeah.
So let's look at number 1 real quick. I'll wait for you to.
No,
To write
I'm
it out.
good. I'm ready to go.
Okay. So you got dia, hoi duloi, leluntai, hupa tu kuriu.
To Kuryu.
Okay?
I like that.
Dia up front is a word we just had in our vocabulary. So
Yes,
what-
that's the one you were discussing.
So what does dia mean?
Therefore.
Therefore, okay? And this is the non-post-positive therefore. This one can start a
Sure.
clause. So therefore, hoi duloi,
Therefore, the servants.
leluntai. What tense is leluntai?
Leiluntai is future.
Not future.
Oh no. It's
What is that process called up front? Reduplication.
reduplication.
So what does that
That's the
indicate?
perfect.
It's the perfect. Yeah. So perfect. Now with the perfect, the title says of this chapter says perfect middle or passive.
Right.
But what's the word right after that?
Hupo.
Hupa.
Hupa.
What is that telling us? It has agent.
It has agency.
Agency. So because there's agency, what is leluntai? What voice? Perfect.
Perfect passive.
Passive. Yeah. Perfect. Passive.
Perfect passive.
What mood?
Perfect passive. Indicative. Indicative mood.
Okay. What's the ending?
Perfect passive indicative.
Untai.
Untai is third person plural.
Third plural. Good. From
Luo.
Luo. Yeah. So therefore the servants.
Therefore the servants.
Perfect passive.
Perfect passive. Oh man.
What's the auxiliary verb for perfect?
Being.
No, that's the
No.
that makes it passive.
Uh,
In the active voice, it's we blank loosed.
in the active, it's being loosed.
No, in the active voice,
We are.
we blank loose. What's the blank? What's the auxiliary verb there for the perfect?
We
Remember,
just said this.
remember for the future, it's will. But for the perfect, it's have. Yeah.
Have.
So therefore, the servants.
Therefore, the servants
Perfect.
have
passive.
been
And
loose.
loose. There you go.
The
So-
servants have been loose
Therefore, the servants have been loosed. Hupa tu kuriu.
by the Lord.
By the Lord. There you go. And remember, hupa there is actually telling us direct agency.
Right.
So
Right.
the Lord is most responsible for doing
Right.
the loosing there.
Okay. Therefore.
I feel kind of bad that we ran out of time today because I'd love for us to kind of sit and work on some more of these
I need it, yeah.
a little bit. But
Been loose.
in order for you to do that cost assessment for me,
Sure.
we'll have to cut it short here. But I just wanted to look at, this is not in the book, but here's number 1 as the alternate. I made an alternate of number 1.
Oh, alternate number 1.
So here's un. Un means the exact same thing as dia. So what does un mean?
Therefore.
Therefore, it's post positive. It cannot start a clause or a phrase. So Do you see how it's separated these two words from each other?
Yeah.
So these still go with one another, right?
So you would say,
Literally, the Greek is saying the therefore servants,
okay.
but that's lousy English,
Lousy
right?
English.
So you would want to stick this back up front and say what? Therefore,
Therefore
the servants
Okay.
have been loosed by the Lord.
Okay.
Or you could even say, sometimes if the construction had it not there, but all the way over here, you could say the servants, therefore,
All right.
have been loosed by the Lord. Yeah, so
Okay.
you could keep that word order if you like to. But when it's stuck right there, usually you want to stick it up front because it's
All right.
breaking up the nominatives
All right.
there. So, and usually if it was here and not here, when I'm highlighting, diagramming my sentence, I'll actually do this
Gotcha.
so I can see that these two belong together.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Now, is the example where it comes after douloi, is that the condition where you said put therefore wherever you want, pretty much?
Yeah, something like that. There's reason why they would move it because it can be further into the clause if it wants to be, and I'm sure there's a great reason why a writer would want to put it in a different location other than maybe the next word.
Okay.
I don't know what the reason is, but
Okay.
that's one of those things that as you learn the language and you can get these curious questions and then read more books and find more resources and they can
Sure.
help kind of explain those things
Sure.
better than I ever could.